XVONE, up for educational critical review, is Jordan Maxwell, in a piece titled, Soulless, and the brief reaction is, it's a prison planet for self-lying own brain-stealing zombie thieves that have been praying to a reptile since about age 3, because they never saw the switch in the beginning, and they're stuck in the cart before the horse order of emotion, action, thought, when the correct order is thought, emotion, action.
Nobody in America cares one way or the other.
Very few in Europe too, Jordan. Same thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very, very sad. Now I could go down the line and name off great minds who have contributed awesome to the well-being of the human race, who actually are not only not known, but what little bit is known of them are cursed and belittled and drugged through the dirt, and are presented as enemies of the human race. So I realize that the people who are running this planet today have in mind to mutate the human race, and to mutate or to what I would call intervene in mankind's natural evolution. We in America are now living under something called arrested development. We can no longer think. We can no longer use our minds to judge the rightness or the wrongness of anything, because we have nothing to judge anything by. We're not educated. We're very poorly educated. We Americans can't find their own country on a map. They're ignorant. They're ill-informed. They're unread. They're pompous and arrogant and self-centered and egotistical. They're given to silliness, and it's just a horrible, horrible place to have to now operate in if you have a spirit and if you are intellectually inclined and spiritually inclined and have feelings. America is a horrible place to have to live now. And so there are so many good people here who do have great spirits and who do have a care for their families and human race. And they are confined to have to live now in a country that has no soul whatsoever. America is soulless. It has no value in anything. It's an incredible place to live today, when you can talk to people about something of importance to the human family, and people will just look at you and stare at you.
Yeah.
Like you're some kind of a strange picture on the wall. They don't even know what you're talking about.
That's right.
And so that's why I today am in a horrible place in my life, because I've spent my entire life studying, reading, researching, comparing notes. I've got hundreds of bank boxes in storage of handwritten notes. I've got about 30 bank boxes of just handwritten notes on every subject that's conceivable to the human mind. Everything I could get my hands on was reading and studying it, questioning. And today, after all of that, 50 years of that kind of study, and specifically in the areas of religion, theology, occult theology, and government, today I am locked into a country that people look at me like an oddity. When I talk about my subjects in public, people look at me as if I must be from another world. Well, I figured out a long time ago what it amounts to, what my situation is. If you, as a normal human being, happen by chance to be invited to go for a tour of an insane asylum, and you're roaming around the grounds of that institution, which is filled with mentally disordered people who have to be locked up because they're mentally unstable, and retarded, and you walk through that facility and spend the day talking to people, everybody in that facility knows each other. Everyone in that facility has lived together with everyone else, and so they all have their little eccentricities, and they're all on the same level of mentally disordered, but they all get along together. They're all together, and they've lived together, so they're not. They don't have any problem living with each other. But you, as an outsider, You show up as an outsider, talking and asking them questions about science, religion, philosophy, government, and commerce, intelligent things that intelligent people would discuss, and they will all in the institution look at you like you're mentally deranged because you don't fit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening in America. People like myself don't fit. And my fellow Americans look at me as if I'm some kind of a monstrosity. They have no idea in the world what I'm talking about. Secret societies, Illuminati, and international high finance, and the manipulation of the human race, and how religion and occult philosophies manipulate our minds, and how they're manipulating great nations into wars, etc.
That's right.
And so.
Well, I totally agree with you, Jordan, and I personally believe that this is also now a worldwide plague, if you will, in that sense, that this is not at all restricted to America. This is in Europe, it is in other parts of the world. I personally obviously witness and see this every day in this former country called Sweden that now has sold itself over to the European Union. And everything is, over in terms of, anything that has to do with the nation of Sweden anymore. But that's a side issue. This is a worldwide plague, basically. And the question here that you mentioned, that you bring up here about this transformation that is taking place of the human being is an interesting one. It's a pertinent one to talk about. It is basically news items is revealed almost every day now that supports this particular theory. BBC talked the other day of the fact that they now have been able to change people's moral judgment by disrupting a certain area of the brain with magnetic pulses. Another news another news item came out. J. Craig Venter, the guy who's behind the Human Genome Project, has now created synthetic life, first time successfully. A cell have now been able to be programmed by a computer, and this now can go around in its own environment and reprogram other cells. So this is called a new life form, and it's called Synthia. Is this what you're talking about? The scientific dictatorship, the technological singularity, transhumanism, right?
That's it. That's precisely what I'm talking about. Exactly, because I know I've sat and talked with physicists, scientists, astronauts. I have many friends in the government and industry, and in the science community especially. I'm a member of certain scientific groups, and I sit and listen to these people who are explaining how the human mind works, how the stimuli is scientifically put together. To one day, it's not. Let me go back and say that if you're the captain of an oil tanker, one of the largest ships in the world, you cannot manipulate that ship like you do a Volkswagen. You can't run it like a car. You have to plan 20 miles ahead of time where you're going to direct that ship, because it has weight, momentum. It is too large to turn quickly, so you really have to know what you're doing if you're going to be a captain of an oil tanker or a captain of a great seafaring boat. So you have to know what you're doing and then plan 15 to 20 miles ahead of time to where you want to be. Well, the same thing is happening today. The people who are manipulating the human race have already planned this as far back as the turn of the century in 1890s. There were already scientific people talking about the manipulation of the human psyche, the human mind, and redoing the whole human race. Classic example of some of the most brilliant people on the earth, and some of the most awesomely evil people on the earth, but extraordinarily brilliant people. The whole Nazi movement about the eugenics. And incidentally, eugenics, the Nazism and eugenics did not start in Germany. It had nothing to do with the Nazi people. It had nothing to do with the German people.
That's right.
Eugenics started in America. It started right here in Southern California, is where the concept of eugenics began, is right here in Los Angeles. And I can actually show you, it was large articles a few years ago in the Los Angeles Times talking about where did the concept of eugenics and the superior race of humans being developed on the earth, where did that come from? Well, it came from actually in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles is where it was actually developed to start with. And from here, it fled into Europe, and from Europe, it set up the whole concept now for the whole world. But it was developed right here in Los Angeles, not by the Nazis, not by the German people at all. It was developed here in Los Angeles. So when I know that and I understand who these people are and what they're doing and what their long vision for the future, like a ship's captain, they have planned this a long time ago, before your parents were born. This was already on the board to be worked on. And this kind of knowledge is on a need-to-know basis, and the guys who are running this planet figure you don't need to know. You just go and watch your basketball and your sports and your soccer and drink your beer and stay out of the way, because somebody is manipulating and directing the whole human race into a hole. We are all going under. Our Earth is under arrested development. People all over the world can't even think anymore.